Welcome back to another episode of the Football Pundits. We are covering game week 21. Current game week 20 was a shit show. I'm not even going to bother censoring that. I'm not going to censor it in the edit either. Man, what was that week, right? Harry Kane injured in the last game of the game week. We have what, less than 48 hours to figure who to get in place for him. Back-to-back game weeks. We have the next deadline now. Game week after that, I think Tuesday, and quick game week again Saturday afterwards. The Spurs assets was the one in demand up to West Brom, and now everyone has to change their plans, right? Apart from that, Gundogan Cancelo owners, well done for not overthinking it. Getting Gundogan for KDB, especially not overthinking like Kern and I were. Will he play deep? Will he play this way? Will he play on the left? Good job. Pat on the back for that. But all in all, Kern, shit show. Really, really, really average week.
I have a green arrow. So I'm okay with it. But yes, I am a little disappointed with the opportunity cost with, last second for some reason. I'm like, hey, Suchek is going to play really deep. So let me put him on the bench. And, just that. And if just that small thing I would have changed, it would have been a much larger green arrow, right? So, especially in a week where everyone is dropping points, you don't want to go ahead and sort of do the United and lose out points uh, on the table. So opportunity cost wise, yeah,
Yeah, a small
quite the weird week.
red arrow for me as well. Was looking quite good till City did what they did. I think Cancelo owners were lucky with the Cancelo goal, but hey, you know what? That's how FPL works sometimes, right? You roll the dice, it either works in your favor or doesn't.
We've been unlucky for so long, man. He's been underperforming on numbers. It was honestly just overdue. So hey, we had to.
Never mind. In this game week, obviously, for this episode, we'll cover the picks for game week 21. We'll also have a quick discussion about the game weeks to follow immediately so you get a decent plan up until game week 23, 24. So I'm going to start off with my team this time and let's see how it looks currently and what we could possibly do and help managers fix their teams accordingly as well. So, reminder for everybody, I'm not a Salah owner. I own Harry Kane and Son from game week one, and now things are about to get very, very interesting for me. But before we move on to that, don't forget to hit subscribe and make sure you hit a like on this video and follow us on our social media handles as well. Right, so this is what my team looks like. Kane on the bench, hopefully like one of those Son situations from earlier in the season, right? But honestly, a double ankle injury doesn't bode well. Now we've had what? It's been less than 6 hours since that happened, and we're shooting this episode. So our my transfer plan for this was completely torn apart, right? So I'll take managers through what my transfer plan was before the Kane injury and now how we'll have to improvise. So ideally, my earlier transfer plan was to um, essentially take out Pereira, get in Gundogan, because it's about just a point 0.1 increase. That still used to give me about 4.7 in the bank. And in the week to follow, that's a game week to follow after that. If Madison didn't perform again, happily switch him out for Grealish. Still keep money in the bank. Monitor my Liverpool defenders and upgrade Cresswell eventually out to Robertson or Trent. Now that Kane's injured, we're running out of premium players, Kern. There's no Vardy already. No Aguero to get in for him. KDB is still a bit away. Now we lost Harry Kane. Now I'm thinking that as a non-Salah owner, he's the only premium available, right? Because Aubameyang is still maybe out for a game week, personal reasons for him. Or there is Mane. So where I'm at right now is I think I'll be forced to sell Harry Kane. Probably getting DCL for him because they have a good two fixtures coming up. Richarlison, James Rodriguez fit, Dini is fit. Um, Still probably have about what 4 million in the bank after that. Could definitely upgrade one of my other Suchek Pereiras all the way up to figure that out with other players and get Salah into my squad. Tough times. What do you think?
Yeah, premium assets are so weird right now, right? Salah has not performed for 6 weeks now. 6 weeks more Salah has not performed. That's astonishing, right? You don't have KDB. And instead of him, instead of looking at Sterling, we're looking at Gundogan, right? And you have all those points. And someone left a comment last week. Why are we not talking about Gundogan? Why are we talking about Sterling so much? And rightly so to an extent. But for me, the reason we were looking at that, or at least I was looking at that, was Sterling just has a much higher ceiling. And I thought Gundogan's probably just like overperforming on his position. As we said, right, that we might have overthought a little as to where he's going to play this, that, but he's gone ahead and got those numbers again. I still think Sterling has a slightly higher ceiling in terms of getting those returns from a City attacking point of view, seeing their fixtures. But yeah, again, I mean, just coming back to premium assets, Gundogan instead of Sterling. Right now, Kane is not there, Vardy is not there. Fernandez had a blank. The most captain player ever in fantasy Premier League blanks. Right, bound to happen. I guess the FPL jinx. Uh, I think Salah, therefore, uh, Sterling, therefore, even though they're not performing, I think now people will have them, right? Because they can afford them. So if you don't have them, you're sort of putting yourself under too much pressure because why? You don't have to go differential for the sake of going differential, right? And Salah looked sharp. He scored against United in the FA Cup. He could have had easily a couple of goals against Liverpool, bar a couple of, you know, minor margins of error here and there. So I think Salah's one to have in your team. Uh, he's going to get those returns in. So I think that's the premium asset we're looking at now. Invest in your defense, right? Where we are sort of shying away, going with the likes of your Kilmans, as you can see on screen, and Mitchells in here and there. I think now with the premium assets not there in midfield like they were at the start of the season, might be the time to go finally in for Liverpool defenders, depending on how they do over the next couple of weeks. City double ups are obviously there to see, and then again maybe the likes of your Chilwells uh, and so on.
Yeah, definitely, right? Because the way we were looking at this till a couple of weeks back, where City couldn't get a goal, they couldn't buy a goal with KDB in the squad, Fate, Sterling playing false nine, all the rotation that they tried, they couldn't buy a goal. City players became a must-have. KDB is now out injured again, but you've got Gundogan, you've got Sterling, not Foden. Clearly, anybody but Foden because that's what Pep loves doing. I mean, they could be flying high, and someone could still find a reason to abuse Pep Guardiola because kind of deserves it sometimes. But yeah, Liverpool players, essentially the part of this conversation is that Liverpool players now could be back in demand. So let's, you know what,
Yeah.
let's have a look here. Okay. 4.8 in the bank, like I said. Now, if I want to make a simple swap this week, right? Look, Cresswell has still good fixtures. They have Aston Villa, Fulham, and Sheffield after this. Not one I want to really replace him. Got an assist in the last game week as well. Albeit conceded goals against a very woeful Palace. So that was a bit of a worry. But let's say I take out Aaron Cresswell. I move on to Liverpool, right? Now, obviously, we've been talking about Robertson all season because he has been the better centre back of the better fullback. But Trent showing promise now in the last few game weeks as well. A little shock in the defending part of it where he's caught out a bit, but we're worried about the attacking returns, right? That's where the trade-off always was. Getting in those assists over those clean sheets also, as good as a midfielder at 7.3, 7.4. Trent won by about 13.5% managers, 7.3. Get him into the squad, right? That leaves me with 2.9 still. With 2.9, I can still downgrade Kane to DCL. I can go in with this team as is with a -4. Um, Nothing, no problem right there. I can even take leave Kane on my bench. Not ideal because I also wanted to get rid of Bamford this week because I think I'm had it with Bamford. I think he's really, really frustrating. Bamford and Wilson have been disappointing me. But again, Wilson
Oof.
just that fixture pull with him, right? Everton, Palace, Southampton, relegation battle, they feel it. Just about something there. Saint Maximin is back. They look much more threatening with him. Some little thing about taking out Wilson for Antonio. Maybe Bamford for Antonio would be a better pull, right? So then in that case, I would leave Kane away. Would not take out, not get in, like I said, my Liverpool defender. Leave Kane as it is. Would simply just swap out a -4 either way. Bamford to Watkins or Antonio. And one of my lower price midfielders, Suchek or Pereira to Grealish. Suchek, I think, will end up staying. Probably will be Pereira if I do that. So a lot of permutations to figure. But ideally, that's where I would want my team to look where I'm covering the Aston Villa fixtures. Because like we discussed last week, Aston Villa, I mean, you look at the Aston Villa fixtures again, Con, like so tempting. We didn't see the 3-2 high scoring game with Burnley because no one sees a high scoring game with Burnley. Burnley are winning the game. We see them being
Yeah,
drugged final at times. But look at that,
yeah,
man. Target again, right? I've opened up Target because he was a pick for us last week. Assist in the lost as
yeah.
well. Southampton, West Ham, Arsenal, Brighton, Leicester there. Tough, I guess, but then
Then
there's
Leeds.
Leeds, Wolves, Newcastle, Sheffield, Fulham. Really, really not the worst fixtures for them. Defensively, you can be worried, but by attacking returns, you could see players getting attacking returns. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's where I stand so far. Just for the sake of managers to get one more visual look, I'm going to just take that out. Let's say, for example, I do end up taking Bamford out for the likes of Antonio. Like I said, a triple up was worrying me, especially against Liverpool to have Antonio starting because the Cresswell will be on my bench. I don't think I'll be starting him against Liverpool. 4.8 in the bank, right? It doesn't change anything for me. He's at the price which Bamford's in my team. No harm, no foul. So it could just be a straight swap there. Not easy times for me, but yeah, I think Kane will leave for DCL as of now. That seems to be the most obvious move.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the only thing I have to say there, and is Cresswell, right? He is the highest scoring defender right now. So, uh, yeah, I mean, if people are looking to do a move out for him to Robertson and all, it makes sense in a way to go for that Liverpool asset over the West Ham asset. But he is the high scoring defender, and sometimes that's just how FPL is. Even if the player is at that level, you need to know when to make that switch and capitalize on the next one that's coming in. So don't get bogged down by, oh, this player has been performing for me. Just sort of sometimes you have to be a little objective and maybe make that move.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just go back to that, right? Just to again visually have a look, I think. So let's say, just to finish that move off, that's Kane out. I'm going to go down to my forwards, have a look at DCL 7.6. DCL's fixtures are Newcastle, Leeds, United, Fulham. United, the tricky one, Liverpool, but enough to capitalize on in the short run, assuming Kane comes back in a couple of
Yeah.
weeks, right? That if you look at my bank, that's insane. I have 8.1 in the bank. I can definitely do that. And like I told you earlier, take out Pereira and get in Mo Salah, sorry. So
Yeah.
again, for the sake of just visually completing that move, Mo Salah right there at 12.5 with a -4, TCL and Salah in. Really not a bad
Mm,
shout, Con. I think that's a decent look at
not at
how
all.
things are. But yeah, that
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking so far. That a -4 is definitely happening. Kane will most likely go out. DC are the best candidate possible. Second, Antonio for either one of the other forwards who are frustrating me. And I think I've run course about going without Salah. I think it's time to get Salah or Grealish into the squad to make sure I don't lose too much ground in the coming weeks. All right, go. Let's focus now on, like we said, individually. Let's go team wise, right? We've discussed Leicester in the previous week. We've discussed Man City through and through. So let's start with the Manchester teams, right? Let's start with United though. We were also asked by a lot of people, including in the comment section on YouTube, about why not cover United players, right? And discussed this before last week's shoot. Let's see how this game week goes. Let's see who starts, and then we'll know. And the reason why this is where we go a little biased. As United fans, we had that feeling. We had that feeling that something against Sheffield is not going to pan out. Luke Shaw was benched as we expected because he needed a rest. It's not that he had an injury coming up. He's never consistently played that many games for us where he's gone injury free, right? So rest, I guess, was in the offing. Apart from Maguire, Kern, no one looks set in stone, right? By and large, United defense, even though the fixtures are tempting again. After Arsenal, they have Southampton, Everton, West Brom, Newcastle. Good fixtures.
Yeah, I mean, United have great pictures, but you're seeing bias. I think it works sort of the opposite way for me as a United fan because I follow them a lot closer.
Overthinking.
I can see that they're not reliable. Apart from Bruno Fernandes, I don't know who to get in, right? I mean, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, and he performed and he got the points in for uh, those guys who maybe listen to me. Paul Pogba, right? He has had a big impact on Bruno Fernandes' numbers. So, but at the same time, he's giving returns. And this is again going back to what I said at the start, right? Like you have all these alternates to premium options now coming up, like Gundogan to Sterling. Now you have uh, your Pogba to Bruno, right? But there's just no dependable name. Defense is definitely not dependable in terms of giving you clean sheets. There's much better options available in other teams. Um, Rashford goes hot and cold. I think he will be sort of rested as and when he can. I'm not saying this game, but I'm saying over 3-4 weeks, I think there's a good chance he comes to the bench on one or two of them, right? And again, when you have the likes of your Madisons, Grealish, um, now even James Rodriguez is back on my radar. When you have these people available, even Rashford and look good. Martial obviously does not look good. I mean, it's just baffling how out of touch he's looking right now. Cavani again is a rotation risk. So unfortunately, United, even though the fixtures are there, I think Bruno's still the only name that we can look at, and his numbers too aren't up right up there as they were at the start
Yeah,
with Pogba coming back in form.
just one assist in the last 4 games now, and worrying that against Burnley and Sheffield were two blanks. Liverpool was understandable, could have had 2 assists there and a goal himself. So I wasn't worried too much about the Liverpool performance, but the Fulham, Sheffield, and the Burnley performances were the worrying ones. Even though he got an assist against Fulham, I wouldn't really take that rate. You know what I'm talking about? The Cavani goal,
Yeah.
a little poor in that game as well. Moving on to then Manchester City. And look, we already spoke about the Gundogan bit, right? So fair enough, the managers who've gone for him. Doesn't look like he's going to get dropped. Uh, Looks like Pep will want consistency in that midfield, so he will play Gundogan. He was taken off early in the game. Haven't got any injury updates so far. His price has gone up to 5.7. So I assume there's no reason to doubt him starting unless an injury update comes up later today. If that happens, we'll keep you notified, obviously. Gone outside of Gundogan, we spoke about Sterling last week, right? You've given us a thing about Sterling as well. We spoke about a City triple up in defense. A triple up would have actually worked out if you had Cancelo, Diaz, and Stones. Could have worked out there.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have had Gundogan or Sterling. So you
You
would have
wouldn't have
lost some of those
Gundogan or
points, right? Which is
Sterling.
where we said that yeah, if you triple up on defense, you don't get the attacking City returns.
Yeah, I mean, with getting in the likes of Cancelo, I don't think you need those attacking returns. My God, that was a great performance, though. Honestly, the way he's positioning. So, while come down to the triple defenses, Cancelo now seems to be more appealing over Ruben Diaz as well, right? Because if you saw his positioning against West Brom, he was almost central, just spraying those balls, linking up with Gundogan, coming back, collecting the ball, spraying it back into him. A couple of attacking returns, attackers making the run in the box, and just putting the ball over the top. Something Carrick used to do so often, right? You could see him doing those. Something you would see Henderson doing at Liverpool. He was that advanced at certain parts of this game. Was it just because it's West Brom? Or was it because that's how Cancelo has been the kind of player, right? Sheffield and Burnley, two great games to try it out if you want to. Um, I wouldn't go sideways Diaz to Cancelo just yet if you have Diaz already. If you don't, definitely Cancelo over Diaz since he's picking up form and got those assists for me.
Yeah, again, Cancelo has the higher ceiling, in terms of getting the attacking returns. Diaz gets a lot of regular bonus points. But I think Cancelo, Annie, you mentioned all those comparisons. I think another comparison that we can do is Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? Very rarely actually see his attacking position as a right back. I think Cancelo often gets into the same sort of positions of crossing and in the box where he's shooting from those angles and the balls he's putting in. So
Yeah.
I think Cancelo has the potential to sort of give those sort of returns for people on him, and that's why I had bought Cancelo. He was underperforming all this while, unfortunately. Finally lived up this week, and I think he can continue that, which is why Cancelo is my pick. But yeah, I'm not sure whether a sideways move is that needed. But with the next two fixtures so pleasing, I might have taken that risk myself. Is all I'm
Yeah,
gonna
if
say.
you have no other move to make and you're set, you have Salah already, Kane wasn't a worry, you already covered for Kane, maybe consider a sideways move. Basically, if it's a free transfer, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
obviously. Uh, okay, now let's move on to the big one, right? Let's move on to Spurs and let's focus directly on Harry Kane replacements. I spoke about Calvert Lewin. Um, there's Newcastle, Leeds, United, Fulham, the next four games. Not the worst fixtures. A possible double up coming for them before the big double game week as well. Players around him are fit. What do you think? DCL is the way to go, or you could maybe, like we spoke about last week, start looking at Chelsea. Chelsea, I know, is very dependent on the likes of Tuchel. His press conference is very important because he didn't start Werner as well. Came on later, but he did not start with Werner. Werner, good punt right now.
I just said last week as well, Annie, right? Like we still don't know who's starting for Chelsea. So again, I think that money is just better invested elsewhere. Is there another premium forward pick? There isn't, unfortunately. I
There's
can't
no one
say,
left. There's
hey,
no
here's a
one.
side.
I mean,
There's no
unless
one
you
left. There's no Aguero. There's no Vardy. There's no Kane. Unless you want to do an Ings or someone, if
or
you're counting them as
Firmino
premium now.
or Firmino.
Again, I think Firmino at that price point, once again, he goes blanks for too many game weeks,
Yeah,
right? He just disappears for too many weeks. So, uh, I'm not that convinced by any premium forward right now. And in that mid price, honestly, it's anyone's guess. I think the best looking one right now is Antonio. Apart from that, Bamford ways to deliver every now and again. Wilson is frustrating to own. Watkins has his own blanks here and there. DCL, we will find out now. For some reason, to me, just James Rodriguez is looking a little more appealing still in terms of the eye test uh, than DCL. So if you are looking to get in someone immediately, that'd be the one. But DCL is an eye to keep out for. But yeah, it's tricky. There aren't any clear cut picks, but that would be my order, the one
yeah.
that
See,
I
the
just said.
problem with James Kern is that you have only so many midfield slots left. Like you have Madison, Grealish,
Yeah,
even so. Our picks last week was Sterling, Grealish, Zaha, all scored, right? So you have
yeah.
three of them already. You have Madison on top of that, Harvey Barnes. Obviously, James got in that goal for Everton, but I would say still for another week or so, even though with the promising fixtures there, I would still put my bet on DCL only because there's a big slot empty vacant Kane size
Yeah,
slot available there, right? Moving on to
yeah,
the second part of this, right? Do you still hold on to Son? I would say yes, at least for a game week or two
yeah,
till West Brom. Let's see how they adapt. Let's see
yeah.
how they play. Maybe Kane is back before we know it, and all of this was for nothing. Also, secondly, I would also like to then monitor the likes of will Gareth Bale play more? We discussed this that Bale came into this squad to maybe not play that many games in the start. They'll get him up to like full fitness, and maybe when Kane or Son get injured, because we felt it was inevitable by the game time they play, he could chip in with those goals. So I'm going to put in Bale and Carlos Vinicius on my radar. Vinicius 6.9, not much to speak about there. Not much of him we've seen in the league. But if Kane indeed is long term and with Son staying in there, maybe on penalties, linking up with these players, we could see a possible new link up in that Spurs duo with Kane out. All right, so let's quickly before we move on to our differential, let's have a parting look at the likes of Leeds. We spoke about Leeds last week, Kern. You said that you were on thin ice with Bamford, taken off in the 59th minute, blank in the last three. Yes, fixtures are Leicester, Everton, Palace, Arsenal, Aston Villa, West Ham, Wolves. You always see Leeds scoring. It's not about Bamford, it's also about Dallas, right? Now, do you think that still money is better served elsewhere in the likes of Target, Antonio, Watkins? Or you say hold on still?
Move on, man. How long do you hold on? I think Antonio is a much better option there. Watkins, because of Villa's fixtures, are a much better option. I'm not sure if I'm going to be making that move because I have Bamford and Wilson and Deer, and I need to get Martinez in. So that's four changes that I need to make that I'm not sure how I'm going to make. And so I have some bit to figure out, but I mean, between Bamford and Wilson, I'm probably looking at moving out earlier just because Newcastle just do not look like scoring. But with Leeds, you also have the problem now of defense and not keeping clean sheets. So what do you do with the likes of Dallas, right? Uh, I'm going to hold on to my Leeds assets for now just because I have more pressing concerns. But maybe time to move on to the list that we discussed, right? The likes of Antonio Watkins with their fixtures and form just look like better options right now.
Yeah, same. I think the only reason I feel myself being curtailed is because I have pressing concerns on Harry Kane and just fixing that middle bit. So -4 is the max I would want to go
Yeah.
for. So I think maybe Bamford stays just because of that. But if it wasn't for Harry Kane, I would definitely be taking out Bamford this week, moving things around. Tough times though, tough call to make over there, honestly. But going into the couple of game weeks to follow game week 21, 22 back to back again. Um, 21, 22, and 23 till next weekend, actually. It's important to try to get in an Aston Villa attacker if possible. Grealish or Watkins, either one of them is good. They both look good. Watkins looks like he's picked up some form. Keep an eye on the Leicester assets for another game or two if you have them, Barnes and Madison. I took him in last week, didn't do well, but it's Leeds, Fulham, Wolves, right? So I'm going to have some patience with Madison.
Yeah.
If it's Barnes, I would say do the same thing. And if you have absolutely no other concerns in your squad, uh, definitely look at getting in, like Kern said, a Cancelo in your defense, or look at your Liverpool defenders now. Good time to maybe look at them. Okay, differentials, Kern, right now. And, I'm going to be serious about this. I'm actually looking at, if you're worried about Rashford's poor form, and you doubled up and and you don't have Son, right? If you are only Kane, I think Gareth Bale, maybe we need to see more of him to see if he starts or no. But I think Gareth Bale at 0.3 ownership, 9.3, could be a player worth having a look at, especially if Spurs want to maintain some sort of challenge, right? I I know we've not seen much of him, only done Europa games and a few cup games, has got a few goals and assists here and there. Want to keep an eye out on for me. So this week's differential for me is Gareth Bale.
Uh, yeah, I'm not brave enough to make that move. Mine is going to be Barnes. I know he's just outside that 5% one, but I'm going to take some. He's 5.8 still, so I'm going to just say he counts as a differential still because of the potential he offers
You're just
and
being
the fixtures
safe.
that are there.
You're just being safe.
It's 5.8. Come on, it's still in the 5% bracket, right? I mean, it's 5.8. I just think at that percent ownership, he does make a huge differential at a team like Leicester that's where he's getting attacking returns and there's no Vardy. I think for me that counts as differential. I know you're the editor, and in the end it lies down to you, but that's my pick, and I'm sticking with it.
I'm not going to do anything that will misrepresent facts for our FPL managers. Before we move on to captains, I also want to give a parting mention to Matthias Pereira, who I got in for the double game week in 19. Did phenomenally. He's 1% owned, 5.6. Fulham, Sheffield are the next two fixtures. It's a big Sam side. If they capitalize on, or if they want to stay in the Premier League, this is where a big Sam side will start taking away points, right? So maybe you want to keep an eye out as well over there. Captain Pixkern, not an easy one. Son looked like a good bet with Kane against Brighton. Not so easy anymore. You would ideally also then look at Mo Salah against West Ham. I know West Ham is a tougher team than Spurs, even the kind of performance Spurs put up. West Ham are well-oiled unit. But you just think that looking at the way Salah has been and the number of blanks that he's had, he is bound to deliver. Looked very good against Spurs. Unlucky not to get that goal. I think I would give the edge to Mo Salah in this one.
Raheem Sterling for me. City against Sheffield United, who I think overperformed against Man United. And when I say overperformed, I mean they sort of did so much on the field. I'm not sure how often they can keep doing that, right? For some reason, United couldn't deal with Phil Jagielka, but at his age now, the oldest outfield player in the Premier League, I believe, this season, how much is he going to keep doing, right? And they Sheffield might have a few players back. I know they were missing quite a few players for this game. They might have a few back, but Sheffield United at home against a City team that are just free scoring right now. I think if you have an attacking asset or maybe even a defensive asset, like go Cancelo. as my differential captain for this week. So City player, my captain pick.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, my differential captain was actually also going to be Cancelo if you guys have him in your team. Um, or if you really, really want to look at it again the other way around, I would say Jack Grealish for a second time in a row. I think Villa, even though they conceded a few goals, do look like they're going to get more goals in over the coming few game weeks. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode. We hope you have a better game week than the one we had in game week 20. Don't forget to hit subscribe on our channel if you already haven't. Uh, Leave a like on this video. It really helps us grow our channel. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram and on Twitter, personal accounts as well. We'll be happy to talk to you as always in the comment section for any tips that you may have or any help that you may need. Again, best of luck for this week. Best of luck, best of luck, best of luck. I'm going to keep repeating it so that we put all the voodoo and the jinxes away from the previous game week. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys. Best of luck.